Welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic time at the Successful Bookkeeper Summit. Of course, I'm Michael Palmer, host of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast and CEO of Pure Bookkeeping. And today, in this session, we have a tremendous guest, and he's going to be teaching us all about being and getting different in our business, in our marketing, in our life. My guest is very well known for his fantastic book, Profit First, but he also has a new book out called Get Different, Marketing That Can't Be Ignored. Mike Michalowicz, welcome to the show.
Michael Palmer, it's a joy to be with you. This is our good vibes only edition.
I love it.
Yeah, this is my celebration kind of gear when I'm jacked about something. And so I'm excited to be on the show. I'm excited to share some stuff with our audience.
Well, I know that if we were actually all live, we'd probably be playing some really cool funk music.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be up dancing. And of course, I put on this shirt for you, Mike, and for our audience, because sometimes I think being different or getting different actually can be a little bit of fun. And so I'm really excited about this session because we've talked a lot before about your newest book, Get Different, and the people that were listening to that broadcast absolutely loved it because, this is a noisy world that we live in, and we're all, as business owners, trying to get known, get seen, be found, and win business. And so I think you've really created an excellent book for us to think about how we might do that differently so that we do achieve that.
I was surveying and continue to audiences through live speaking events now, virtual stuff. And I'll ask people, as a CPA, as a bookkeeper, are you better than your competition in some capacity, in some way, or maybe multiple ways? And just by a raise of hands. And at these events, I would say 95% of the audience raise their hand. And I think that's appropriate. Actually, the people that don't raise their hand and aren't better, you got to get back to the fundamentals of improving your business. But for most businesses, particularly small businesses, we might be faster and more nimble. We might care for the customer more than the big contemporaries. There's a reason we're better. And if you are better than your competition, you have a responsibility to get noticed, to be discovered. I think it's a shame that customers never hear about us because we don't market. We hope a business will come our way because clients will refer us. We hope our reputation will precede us, but we don't actively go out there to pursue new opportunity. And the consequence is customers that don't see us, they need to buy, they need to be serviced, will find a inferior alternative. And while that may be the customer's problem, it's absolutely our fault. And the first step is you have to be different. You have to get noticed. You have to break out of the noise. There's a reason I got my celebratory gear here is because when you maybe turn on the video, you're like, whoa, what's going on here? It garners attention. Now there's a balance. You don't want to be wacky and weird and distracting. I could have worn this whole time. I could be wearing a Bozo the Clown costume. There's a certain point where if I do that approach, it actually discredits me. And that's part of the marketing approach, is that we have to have this balance between getting noticed, but not being offensive, not being repelling. And so that's what bookkeepers, accountants need to do. You gotta stand out and get noticed because your clients need you. And then they also have to see you as someone that's of great service to them, someone they want to connect with and work with.
So interesting. And then now I can't get out of this shirt right now and not really be different by showing off my bare skin. But someone might think, well, often in my journeys, I've often wondered, there's people who bring out their personality more. That could be a wacky and different personality. And, then there's the other side, which is probably the 80% side, which is trying to be normal or look like everybody else, wear the business suit, not stand out, which is probably how we've been brought up. Many of us in school systems and all that good stuff. What would you say about that?
So there's this interesting kind of bipolar behavior that we experience. And what it is if you rewind to the hunter and gatherer days, it was mandatory that you complied with the tribe. You did what the tribe did because your survival depended upon it. Like if you and I were in the same tribe and the hunters are like, we're going after a woolly mammoth. And I'm like, hey guys, I think we're going after a saber-toothed tiger. That's the way we're going. And the tribe marches toward the woolly mammoth and I'm going the other way. It's certain death for me. I've rejected the tribe, so there's no trust there. Secondly, I'm trying to achieve something which requires community. And so I knew, and we were all wired, that if you reject the tribe, it means you're excluded. And for many of us, that would be certain death. So, not fitting in equals death. And that's this primordial behavior we have. Well, fast forward to modern society, we still have that reptilian brain that believes that, but we have this contrary belief that the only way to garner attention, to be successful, to have people attracted to us is to stand out, to be different. So there's this weird thing where different means death, different means success. And so we have this combating beliefs in our mind. And so most of us will just comply and say, you know what? I'm just going to fit in. Everyone's wearing the suit. I'm going to wear the suit. Everyone sent out email messages. I'm going to send out email messages and newsletters just like everyone else. But it causes white noise. The customer can't see it because this is more of what they're already getting. So you actually make yourself invisible. What I suggest is reframing. Change from the I got to fit in so that I don't die to if I don't stand out, I won't succeed. And if you lean onto that side, you'll realize that standing out is the most important thing you can do. And the one last caveat is you don't have to be wacky or weird. I like to play this silly. That's who I am. What we all need to do is just be more of who we naturally are. So if you are the uber professional, turn up the heat on that. If you like to dig really deep and be super analytical, be the Spock of the world, but amplify who you naturally are in your marketing, and that will start to distinguish you from the generic stuff.
It's very interesting and has me think about this is a psychological battle within to actually be different. And it's, as you've said, it's deep down into our DNA and how we're wired. You've seen many people tackle this, I'm sure, and then likely people reading your book that face the challenge, the psychological challenge of stepping out and being seen differently, even embracing who they truly are might seem foreign to them. What are some strategies for them? And I know our audience likely is feeling that. What would be some strategies for our viewer to actually just do it?
Yeah. It's not to go to the extreme. So for someone that may be putting on the Hawaiian shirt, they may say, wow, this is so unnatural to me or so inconsistent with who I've been up to this point that it's too radical of a shift. So best way to start is A, understanding the importance of marketing, and B, there's a simple technique to get started. So I want to give you a little more of the framing. Marketing, I'd argue, is your responsibility because if you are better than the competition, people need to discover you. The other part is I'd say marketing is the ultimate act of kindness because it is only kind to put the best thing in front of people. Now, I'm not saying to force them to decide to use you, but it is appropriate and kind for them to know of your offer so they can make an educated decision. So if you understand and see it as the ultimate act of kindness, one way to get started in kind of spreading your wings on different is just to do random acts of kindness. Just do something that serves someone else because you'll start feeling the joy internally. And once you start building that muscle, you'll do more of it. I'll give you an example. I try to be deliberate about random acts of kindness myself just because I want to build that muscle. Today, this morning, actually I got some pictures of it. I went out and started collecting garbage in our neighborhood. I was actually out for a run and I said, well, while I'm out running, let me start collecting stuff. And it's random. I'm going onto some people's properties, not invading their property, but on the edge of it where there's some garbage that's accumulated and piled this stuff up. And as I'm out there doing it, by chance, there was this young girl, maybe 7, 8 years old, with her father waiting for a bus, for the school bus. And the girl, I can hear her, she points up, she goes, Daddy, what's that guy doing? And he looks over, he goes, oh, he's picking up trash. And he goes, as loud as he can, he goes, hey, thank you for that. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now there's 2 people inspired by an act that I happen to be doing. And maybe that girl's going to go to school and talk about it, or they're going to talk about it at dinner. But maybe this will inspire something. But I felt good. And that's the key. And as long as I continue to do random acts of kindness, it emboldens me to do things that are atypical. I don't typically go out and collect trash, but now I feel more emboldened to do it. I feel rewarded doing it. The fear with marketing is the first time you put yourself out there and you wear the Hawaiian shirt or you do something different, there's that fear of rejection that we're going to die because we're excluded from the tribe. But what you'll start seeing actually is people thanking you. When you pay for the coffee for the person behind you or in front of you, or you do something and someone turns and says, wow, that was kind, thank you. You'll start seeing that actually the world appreciates that. And that builds the muscle to market accordingly. And you'll see that the world appreciates discovering things that serve them, which is your company.
And using your example of picking up the garbage and the people seeing you not only you feel good, but you've actually created an imprint in that person's mind around their environment, which is an incredibly emotional imprint of, I live in a community of people that clean up garbage, that care. That's my neighbor over there who cares.
Yeah.
He thanked you likely because you were cleaning up his neighborhood. And so if we overlay that in a business perspective, I mean, what are we all doing in order to make our customers feel cared for, feel safe?
Yes.
And when you talk about doing at random acts of kindness, I mean, doing that within your customer base and your community or whatever that might be, I mean, it's massive way to stand out and be different and actually really make a difference in the world.
It really is. I want to show you, here's the picture. So I took it this morning. There I am, where I have a weighted running shirt basically, but to my left there, I'm pointing to the garbage I collected today. And, another kind of mind thing that we need to go through is when I was picking up that garbage, at first I noticed like, oh, this is frustrating that so many people throw trash on the ground or so much trash. But that's kind of like marketing and saying, oh, I'm putting this message out there, but it's bothersome. I'm putting trash out there. Then I realized, I said, wow, if I do this, my next run in a couple of days, there's gonna be less trash out there. And I'm like, I wonder if I could do a full 5-mile run, which would be kind of like a long run for me. If I could do a full 5-mile run and not see any trash, it started motivating me to do this. I made a game out of it. So when it comes to marketing your business, you may not see that immediate return. You may not land that marquee client on day one, but now it becomes a game that if I keep putting messages out there that are different and noticeable, where am I going to see the wins? And maybe it's, the equivalent of the 5-mile run with no trash. Maybe it's that big client that's coming down the pike that if I just keep at this, these different approaches, there'll be milestones along the way. And that big one's simply inevitable now if I keep at this.
It's interesting, and I mean we've gone into really a way of being and finding something that people find joy from, and connecting that with your marketing. I mean, in my mind, that likely is going to be a lot more successful if you can find a way to sustain it, to have fun with it, set targets with it that are fun and enjoyable. It's going to actually happen, and people will actually do it.
That's exactly right. And so in this model, I call Get Different, I set up a framework, I call it DAD. So stage 1 is differentiate. Stage 2 is this attractor factor, to attract. So being different for different sake garners attention, but it doesn't necessarily retain it. Actually, it may even curtail it. What's interesting about, I was doing research about just how our mind operates. And if I'm talking about the prospect, and we're all prospects of different offers, our mind is actually designed to ignore most stimuli, like 99.99, right, exponentially, a percent of the stimuli that present itself, we actually ignore. So if you look around your desk or wherever you are right now, there's tons of things that could garner your attention. But if we evaluated every single thing we're looking at and dove into it, it would consume the entirety of our life. We could spend hours evaluating, a button I have sitting here. Like, how did these colors come about? Who thought of the word button? Why is it made out of this material? I can go on and on and on forever. So our mind is ignoring, but there's something that it can't ignore, and it's the unexpected. Because when something different presents itself, the question is, what's going on? Is this an opportunity or a threat? So when I start the video and, we're doing this together and I'm wearing these glasses and this goofy hat and you see me sitting here, it is subconsciously wired into us. We have to say, what's going on? What's he doing? Because I don't expect this. And then what our mind does is it goes through this process of saying, is this a threat? Is it an opportunity, or can be ignored? And it's always in that sequence. First thing is a threat. Like, is this like some weirdo murderer guy that's like dressed like a wacko and I should avoid this? Is an opportunity. Maybe he's going to be doing a show or some sort that's going to entertain me. Or is it just ignorable, someone doing something weird? That different element, I have about 1/10 of a second to win you over. And if the more different you do, if you just hang on the different, very quickly people are going to disregard it and say, oh, it's irrelevant. So for me to continue to wear, to present myself so differently, I actually may disengage people. So what I have to do is move from different, garnered attention, to then attracting. And attracting is speaking to the interests, the desire, the demands, the needs of the prospect. So you have to know who your prospect is. But then in your messaging, it needs to be of service to them. Now, of service doesn't mean it has to solve an immediate problem they have. That would be great. And you couldn't do that. It could just be entertainment. Last time I was watching the Super Bowl last year, Budweiser has its classic commercials. They're always fresh and new. So that's different because they present new ones every year. Clydesdale clapping, snow coming down. There's a dog running through the scene. And those are very attractive because I want to insert myself in the story. They use entertainment. So we can use an entertainment factor, or we could use curiosity or education or solving problems. Any of those things keep people engaged. And if we fail to do that, different's going to fail you. Like I said earlier, when people hear the word different, they think, oh, outrageous. I need to do something that's crazy. And that's absolutely not what it is. What you need to do is amplify your authentic self, present it so it gets noticed, and then lean into your authentic self and deliver that, because that's what then compels people to stay engaged with what you're offering.
It's remarkable. And it's so many opportunities inside of what you're saying. And also, when you think about it, if people are bringing out their authentic self, it's a uniqueness to them. That in itself is probably on the right trajectory, because we bring our own nuances to the world. That's how we stand out. That's why we're different. So if we can integrate that in with our business, that likely will be a differentiator right out of the gate and be more authentically connected. So likely we would continue to do it. Why do so many people fail at this?
Yeah. So there's the fear, first of all, that this is not going to work. So that's that survival mechanism. The second thing is we often go in with grand plans. We don't go in with small experiments. So when I wrote the book, and by the way, I have a copy here. To me, this is remarkable because with the COVID pandemic, it's actually very difficult to get a copy of your own book. So I was blessed to get this right as the book is launching. But we often go in with grand plans saying, you know what, I've heard I got to do Facebook. I'm going to do Facebook. I'm going to scrounge together a few $1,000s, whatever, and I'm going to go all in on this Facebook. And when it doesn't play out the way we want, it's an affirmation that was the wrong move. We're like, well, never do that again. It actually facilitates fear. So when we go in with plans, big plans that we don't know the potential outcome yet, it's extremely risky. It often affirms not to proceed again in the future. What I suggest in the book is doing experiments. Experiments is just to get a taste. It's the dip the toe in the water to first find out what works naturally for you and gets a response from the community on a very small scale. So these are small risks. Then once we start getting momentum and it works, that's when we scale it out and maybe back it with some money and so forth. In fact, I believe most marketing experiments should cost you very little or nothing. Maybe a little investment in time, perhaps a good investment in thought, but not much investment in money, and play these out to see if we hit and get momentum. Start getting momentum, then expand it. But in most cases, they won't work. And that's why I call them marketing experiments. A marketing plan means commitment. This is what I plan to do. An experiment means trial. If I do this and it fails, it's just something I've learned from. If I do it and it succeeds, it's a discovery that can expand and mold. So do marketing experiments on a small scale and expand from there. Don't go all in until you do experiments.
But our audience, bookkeepers primarily, accountants, CPAs, tax advisors. There's many that do and are involved with bookkeeping and therefore follow and are connected with the Successful Bookkeeper community. What would be some experiments that our viewer right now could be thinking about? And maybe we just need to brainstorm this if you haven't already. I mean, I don't know that you go to sleep every night thinking about how this audience can be different, but if we were going to spitball a couple of ideas, what might be some experiments that they could try?
Yeah. So we can do it right now. I do have some ideas, but let's spitball a little bit. Here's where to start is what are the common approaches? So let me ask you something, then we'll play with it. I'll give you some strategies on how to play with it. But is there a common marketing approach that you see that bookkeepers use? Maybe newsletters or blogs or emails or social media or?
Yeah, they're definitely common. So, obviously people start with their network when they're getting started. It's like, who do you know? The people that your friends, your family, obviously. And then anyone out there, that would be a natural progression. Say, hey, I'm doing this now, and this is what we're doing. There's connecting with other accountants because in the bookkeeping space, many accountants need great books. So we want to find a great bookkeeper for a client that's got a mess. So
Got it.
That's another kind of really narrow network. There's networking meetings like BNI and many others that are out there. There would be going out and actually, hey, door knocking, if not much of that happening in the last couple of months, almost years, but going actually out into your community and just introduce yourself to people. Those would be some that are
some common, fantastic.
And work. But I think if you got different with a bit of these, bring some, jalapeno peppers along, it may be an improvement.
And you may have just hit on something. So here's the structure we go through in spitballing this. So we want to look at what's called the method and the medium. So what I heard, the common method is actually face-to-face, that people are getting out and seeing family and friends initially at dinner or whatever. And then they're trying to expand that network, saying, hey, introduce me to friends. Is that a fair or
that's a fair,
relatively common method?
Yes.
Okay. The medium sounds like it's voice, meaning it's a conversation of explaining what I have, right? Is that pretty fair?
Correct.
Okay.
That would be the traditional, you bet.
Great. So what we start off with say, here's the common methods and here's the common mediums. Then the first technique we use is what are opposite methods and mediums. So if everyone's medium is voice, in person, face to face, what is opposite of that? Well, written communication, maybe voice, text messages, voice messages, maybe billboards. There's a lot of ways we can change the medium. The method is once, it's a face-to-face conversation. The method is, it sounds like we're explaining our services. Maybe we're asking questions. Can I change up the method? So first thing I like to play with is the method. I find that to be a lot of fun. So let's say we're still doing face-to-face. I'd say, what are people not doing in that communication? Well, one thing is they're not bringing jalapeno peppers, right? And you could say, listen, I want to make sure it's attractive and fits with our management. Say, I believe that we're going to improve your numbers so much that you're going to be like, wow, this is the hottest report I've ever seen. Like, I love my P&L now. This is on fire. And so I'm the jalapeno guy, and I leave a jalapeno. That
bookkeeping, I love it.
Right. Now I'm the jalapeno bookkeeper, and this is going to be on fire. And now this becomes the calling card. That's also a technique called mnemonics. Mnemonics is a very powerful technique. Every time that person sees a jalapeno in their life, and you will see a lot, it ties back to you because you're the only bookkeeper being the jalapeno person. So that's one thing. You can give other artifacts, they call them memorabilia pieces. You could maybe give the person a visor, maybe like a bookkeeping or accounting visor when you leave behind, and say, you will never have to wear this hat because I'm wearing this hat for you. Just leave this on your desk. If you ever need me, this is your reminder to call me. Stuff like that. So you can leave artifacts. The second technique I do is, okay, now we're talking about the established medium, face-to-face, and we're trying out new methods. Now let's try new mediums. Well, if everyone's doing face-to-face, why not do, for example, email? Now, maybe Maybe a lot of other people are doing email, so that is saturated. But if no one else is doing email, maybe I can send out a video-based email, or I can send out some kind of newsletter. But one technique I did personally, and this is why I think it's fun, is as an author, a common medium is to use email. So what I did was I said, well, what is the approach? And I noticed everyone puts black text against a white background. Some put videos and stuff in and pictures. I'm like, what if I was the first one to send out an email that was invisible? You actually can't see it. And what I did is send an email out with a white font against a white background. There was a little message right at the top saying, this is the first ever invisible ink email. Click and drag below to see my message to you. And the open rates and the click-through rates were 3+ times higher than we've ever gotten. Because look, it's an invisible link email. It's different. Folks' curiosity. All you do is click and scroll down. So it highlighted it in that white font and then presented itself. And it harkens back to as we were children doing the invisible ink things. And the click-through rate was great. So you can change the medium or you can change the method, but no matter what, it has to be something that's unexpected to get past that different filter in our minds.
Some great examples, and so, I mean, such an opportunity to spitball with you, and you can really see that even the jalapeno bookkeeper.
I love the jalapeno. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, please, someone take that and run with it. And you
could have you could totally run that. And here's the funny thing, Michael, sadly, most people won't. The power and the force of complying with the community, because death is assured if you do it, is overwhelming. I strongly suspect a lot of people are hearing this and say, oh my God, that's so simple. It's so cheap and easy. But I really got to think about this and I'm not going to do it. And they start to shirk away the opportunity. So once you hear something, here's the other technique. And I wrote about this in the book, is give yourself a 24-hour max, maybe a 24-minute limit to actually have the first execution done. Go out right now and buy a jalapeno or jalapeno peppers. Just buy a pepper thing and start shipping them to clients to spice up the books or whatever the appropriate terminology is. But it's actually overthinking it that prevents us from doing it. So just get out there and do it. Again, this is an experiment. We're not expecting grand success. We're just starting to play. We got to get in that sandbox.
Yeah, I love that. And it's just going and buying the jalapeno. I mean,
yeah,
what I love about it too is that, I mean, we're just using one. I'm sure there's millions of great ideas like this, but we spitball this with you. You're very creative. You have a business mind. So it's a real opportunity, but now we've got this experiment. Even better if you love jalapenos, if that's your thing, spicy food, you love jalapenos. Now this becomes authentically every day you get to show up to your business where it's all about what your passions are. And then the artifact, giving your clients jalapenos, recipes. I mean, you could just go.
It just goes on and on. It's absolutely true. Scoville units, right? You can talk about how hot the company is cruising right now.
Packages for your fixed pricing or whatever. It's like,
you're totally right. Yeah, exactly. That you're the habanero level ghost pepper. Yeah. You can totally play with this stuff. And it also becomes entrancing. Now it invokes curiosity of, what's going to continue on with this? Like, what are the other messages that are going to come out from this company? And it anchors you into that space. You will be forever remembered. To your point, you said there's millions of ideas. We picked on one in just a few minutes and we really dug in deep into it now. The funny thing is, while there's millions of ideas, there's generally about 4 or 5 in any industry that get executed upon. And that's what's so shocking. Everyone does the face-to-face networking. Everyone does the email blast and the social media post and maybe a client referral program. And there's the 4 or 5 we're going to do. It is so easy to be different. It is remarkable. It's mind-blowing how easy it is to be different. We just have to break that compulsion of compliance and fitting within.
What would happen if our audience took you up on this and hundreds of people started the jalapeno bookkeeping business? What would happen? Would it be a problem? Because we're talking about, there's so much opportunity there. Nobody's going to do this. There's going to be no jalapeno bookkeeping based on the stats that we know.
Yeah.
Very few people will take this action. Such a brilliant idea. But what if,
Yeah.
oh,
What
but
miracle happens?
that's probably a fear. It's like, well, I heard Mike and Mike talking about
I'm
it,
doing it.
and it's like
Yeah.
everybody else is going to do it. And so why bother?
Yeah. So sadly, well, the reality is the likelihood of that ever happening, that everyone does it, is almost nil. And that's sad. But let's pretend everyone does it. You know what it does is it will very quickly become saturated. The prospect will say, oh, it's my third jalapeno of the week. What's going on here? And then we all become ignorable again. It's white noise. But everyone that did the jalapeno now has built the muscle to try the next experiment. Here's a classic example where this actually did happen. It was the Hey Friend emails. I suspect, Michael, we all received that first Hey Friend, and that was compelling. It was the first jalapeno that popped in. And it's like, oh, who's this friendly friend calling me a friend? And you start reading through, it's like, oh, this is irrelevant marketing. I don't want this. And an hour later, someone sends another Hey Friend because it caught on so quickly, and you ignore it. And by the third one, you never looked at another Hey Friend jalapeno again. But whoever created that first one now was on the path of starting new experiments. Maybe they invented something new. Anything that works at a certain point will become replicated. That's the nature of business. We clone what's working. The person that's the innovator and does it first is the one who also makes it safe for everybody else. It just takes everyone else a long time to adopt. You do the jalapeno thing, it could be months or years before other people adopt it. But at a certain point, when it becomes saturated, it's all more Hey Friends, you must reinvent. Now, talk about the adoption rate, how slow it is. My first company was in the computer industry. Like bookkeepers, there was hundreds and thousands of computer guys, and still are, throughout this country and throughout the world. All of us, we looked the same. We wore our oversized suits that made us look like scarecrows. That's what I looked like walking in. I had all my certifications. I'm a CNA, CNE, MSP, all these things that no one cared about except for me. And I could brag how amazing I was. But then one day this company came in and kicked my ass and all my competitors, all these computer guys' ass to Sunday. And who it was Geek Squad. Geek Squad was willing to market differently, the way they presented themselves. They dressed like geeks, taped glasses, flood pants, and so forth. It worked to such great success that they were acquired by Best Buy. Today, Geek Squad and Best Buy have a $1 billion plus valuation. That's huge. And yet no one's done it again. We all know it works. Dress like geeks. You've never seen it again. Or be the first computer company dressing like walking jalapenos, but do the different outfit, and no one's done it. That's how afraid everyone else is to do different. So if you have the courage to do different and be the jalapeno bookkeeper, chances are not only are you going to win now, you're going to win for years and years, perhaps decades to come.
So I get excited because there's so much opportunity, and for those that, like you say, have the courage and take that action, they're the ones that will get the rewards, and the rewards can be great. And every time we do something that we're afraid to do and we do it, it builds a muscle of confidence. And so then we can make bigger and bigger moves. We don't go from nothing to like massive moves. We go from little moves to big moves. And that, I think, is a big, going back to that psychological piece that we were talking about in the beginning. Now, you and I, what's kind of cool about this example of Jalapeno Bookkeeper is, you could really see how someone could take, if we were to pull a person out of the audience right now, it's like, hey, who likes spicy? We could work with them. We could help them bring this into their ecosystem. Sometimes it's great to have other eyeballs to see. It's like, well, what's unique about you? I mean, if left to our own devices, it's like, well, I'm just a sheep. I mean, I'm like everybody else. What's unique about me? I'm just, how do we get into a situation, our viewer, how does our viewer get into a situation where they can get this kind of thinking to help them put this together? Because, a lot of times people try and do things on their own and they fail. Do you have some advice to getting out of that trap?
Yeah. So, our true self usually presents itself in spaces that are intimate and important to us. Our own home. Like, Michael, you're even demonstrating here. You have clearly a Hawaiian shirt in your collection of shirts. That's not true for many folks, I presume. And so I'm already thinking, oh, he may have maybe he likes Hawaii, or maybe he just likes that kind of vibe. Maybe he could be the Hawaiian guy. And maybe his tagline is like, what's your Hawaii? I always dreamed of traveling to Hawaii as a child and having a business where I could do this every single year and go surf in Hawaii. What's your Hawaii? Because we make those dreams a reality. And it revealed itself simply by looking in your closet. If we just go through our home, we will actually see us expressing ourselves because that's our own intimate space. So look around. And if you don't feel that you can evaluate your own space, bring in a friend and say, hey, look around. What here, just pick out the items that express me the best. What exemplifies who I am? Do it in my office. Do it at my home. Or you can do this in a real simple method and get this done in the next 20 minutes. You can email a friend or two from the school days, a friend or two from business, and a friend or two that you're in contact with now, and ask each person saying, what in your opinion makes me unique and different? And you can say, listen, I listened to this show with Michael and Mike, and these wacko jobs told me to do this. But what makes me different? From those 6 people, you're going to start hearing a common thread. Oh, you were always someone that really was intellectual or went super deep on things, or you were super silly and funny. You were the class clown or whatever. But you're going to start seeing this common thread of who you've always been, because we're looking back in time and current. Then you can start amplifying that true component of yourself.
So great. And that will take some courage as well.
It does.
Because
it's
something
fun.
different. But it's fun. But it will, how many people are going to do that in our viewer? Are you going to do this? I mean, not only, let's talk about the benefits. Not only are you going to maybe learn something new about the way people think about you, but you're going to get to reach out to all the people you love and get some feedback and do the same for them if they were doing it. And if they're business people, recommend that they read Get Different, because
thank you, brother.
Right? Because not only do I know the book is going to be amazing and it's going to change the way you're thinking about your marketing, but it'll help others in your community do the same. And that's another way to get different, is give great gifts like this to your customers and your friends and your family. Give away knowledge, give away, when you learn something, give that away. And we talked about that in the beginning. This is a way to do random acts of kindness, and also pay it forward for Mike here, who's so gracious to come and share his knowledge and the things that he knows and share it with all of us. So that's one opportunity to do that. So Mike, this has been absolutely amazing. I want to talk a little bit about your book. We've been talking about your book, but I want to talk about your other books. You've written a whole bunch of books. This is your most recent book, Get Different. But I just want to tell a quick little story about you. So first of all, I've told this, you've been on the podcast a few times, we've talked about this, but my brother-in-law, first book he read of yours, The Pumpkin Plan, literally changed his business, has changed his thinking around how he approached his target in the business that he was working on. He quadrupled the sponsorship revenue for the company he was working with. He went from $250,000 to $1 million in about 18 months to 20 months because of the Pumpkin Plan. So that's an amazing book. Profit First is transforming the bookkeeping community internationally, globally. An amazing book. I've read it. I've applied lots of it. I have people that advise me in it. Many of the people that are in your community, Profit First. Fix This Next. Another bookkeeper that has been on the podcast several times, Nancy Gwynn Vaughn. And of course, maybe I should show myself here. Hi, everybody, I'm back.
right. It says me smile.
This is like the little voice in your head is like, who is like, but I just love looking at the books, and that was easy for me. I needed a book where it was like, next time, if we do this another lifetime, Mike, I'll have all the books at the bottom. See each other and your books. But Nancy Gwynn Vaughn, currently reading your book, Fix This Next, literally having her climb these mini mountains in her business and achieve, like, put it to bed, right? It's like, okay, what do I need to fix? And they're climbing the mini mountain, putting it to bed. I've reached the summit. It's now done. In the rearview mirror, what's the next Fix This thing? Remarkable book. So I say all of this, as a thank you for the work that you do and the creativity you bring and the refreshing perspectives that you bring in your book. But also, I know that you're making a massive difference in the community that we have here called the Successful Bookkeeper community. And for those of you that are watching that maybe haven't read these books, they are making a difference in so many of our business owners' businesses and their lives. So Mike,
Oh,
either way, I sound like you're
well, you became my wife for a second there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey.
yeah, exactly. Thank you for the work that you've done and for the difference that you're making in our community and for coming and sharing all this knowledge in the Successful Bookkeeper Summit.
Oh my God, this is a big deal for me. I love our community. You know how invested I am with bookkeepers and accountants. And I really think that everyone in our community is the front line. Like, you have the most intimate relationship. You're the psychologist of business owners. So just thank you for what you're doing. And I'm honored to be just a small part of the journey for some folks.
Thank you, Mike. And it's likewise. I'm going to put this up here. I think
there it is. It's a real thing.
Yeah, there's the real thing. I think the best way to thank you, Mike, would be for our viewer to buy this book. Of course, we'll have link below to go get that book, put it on your shelf, buy a bunch of them, give them away. We're almost into the holiday season. It's a great opportunity, but pick a few of these books, Fix This Next, I Definitely Profit First. I mean, all of them, they all relate back to running a small business and being a small business owner. So lovely opportunity to put something together. And thanks for noticing the passion that I have around not necessarily Hawaii, but this shirt represents freedom to me. Freedom.
Yeah, there you go. It's even better.
This is the freedom shirt. And it was a gift from Mark Benioff, who runs Salesforce.com. When I worked there, he gave this to us. And what I loved about Mark is he definitely gets different, and he is different. And his message to his whole organization is do what you love. And if what you love is here in this organization, do it here. And if what you love is outside of this organization, go do that. And we'll help you make those decisions and help you be successful, whatever path you choose. And that, when I heard that, when I first started with Salesforce, that was his message to me, and the gift of this shirt. It just always, it's like, this is what drives me, the philosophy, but many other things around why and all that good stuff. So much fun. So bring fun to our lives.
Very fun. And I know we're still broadcasting, but if you don't mind connecting me with Mark, I would love to learn more about that story. I'm for the last 5 years, I've been researching what makes a company culture strong, and I'd love to get his and your perspective on that. So if you're willing, I'd love it.
Absolutely. I will connect you. I have a lot of folks in there that would likely be very helpful.
Great.
This has been great. Thank you all for viewing. We will say goodbye. Good luck in your next session, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side. Bye-bye.